All right, these are going to be my Game 5 recaps for Round 1 of the 2024 NBA playoffs. Let's get started here. All right, so for Game 5 of this Cavs and Magic game, it was probably the most competitive game of this series. It was only a 1 point game. All these other ones have been double-digit games plus, so it was a very, very entertaining game throughout the entirety. It was pretty close in the first half. Cavs started up by 10. Magic got it down to a 1 point game at halftime. Cavs were up by 5 going into the fourth quarter. It's just really competitive throughout the entire game. Both teams were pretty okay on offense, nothing horrible. Mavs were 46% from the field, Cavs 43. Cavs were 35% on three. Mavs were 29% though, so still pretty bad there for their 3 point percentage. But overall, still a good game for the Orlando Magic. They did have 14 turnovers, which is a pretty high number, which definitely could have caused them to lose this game. But overall, still played really well. Paolo Banchero was amazing, 39 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. But outside of that, not a whole lot was going on. Franz Wagner was only 3 of 11. Jalen Suggs was 5 of 14. Gary Harris was 0 for 3. So did not get a whole lot of help from the rest of his starting lineup. Outside of Paolo Banchero, he had almost 40% or over 40% of their total points. For the Cavs, they kind of got some help from everybody. Darius Garland had, I believe, like 17 or something in the first quarter. He only finished with 23 points, but he was still playing really well. Donovan Mitchell had 28 points. Max Strus had 16. Evan Mobley had 14 and 13 with 2 steals and 2 blocks. So they played really good as a collective team over there. For Cleveland, they were missing Jared Allen in this game, which certainly made this game probably closer than it would have been because Allen has been playing so good this tournament or this series, I should say. But still without him, the Cleveland being able to get this win, even if it was only by 1 point, is still really good. There's a good chance he'll be back for Game 6. I'm not 100% sure on that. He's listed as a game time decision, so so far the home team has won every game. Especially if Jared Allen is not playing in Game 6, I would expect Orlando to win. But if Jared Allen is playing, I could very well see Cleveland taking this series in 6 games. Next up is going to be the Knicks and Sixers. This Game 5 was an amazing game. Um, it was not as good, I would say, as Game 2, but it was still very fun. Tyrese Maxey was amazing in this game. He had 46 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. He played 51 of the 53 minutes. Didn't go into overtime. He hit a really deep three there at the end of regulation. There was still like 7 seconds or so, but he drained a really deep three to go tie that game. He was scored, I believe, 7 points in the last like 20 seconds or so to tie this game and send it to overtime, which is really good. He's been playing amazing all series long. But yeah, the Knicks had no answer to stop Tyrese Maxey. Joel Embiid had a triple double here, 19, 16, and 10. On 7 and 19 shooting is pretty bad for him with 9 turnovers, so definitely not his best game, but he's still very productive and did what he needed to do. Um, but yeah, for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, typical Jalen Brunson game, put up 40 points. He's just been amazing all series long as well. They only played 7 guys in this game, even though it did go to overtime. Josh Hart played every single minute, all 53 minutes of this game. 18 points, 19 boards, and 4 assists. He was amazing. He still, had 2 other guys, OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson, who both also played 50 minutes in this game. So very heavy rotation there for the New York Knicks. It's not really anything new, but going into Game 6, this definitely could cause some fatigue. Sixers played heavy minutes as well, but not quite 50-plus minutes. So certainly could lead to some sort of fatigue issues. And with New York being without Biljan Bogdanovic for the rest of the series, is definitely going to be an issue there. He was doing pretty solid. Um, so far in this series, and now missing him for the rest of the season definitely could be troubling. They're also Mitchell Robinson's questionable for Game 6. He played in Game 5, but they're really going to want him to be back here for Game 6 so they can go ahead and close it out because you do not want to have to take this into a Game 7 and risk blowing a 3-1 lead. But I would trust New York to probably go win this game in six. If not, I would expect them to still close it out in game seven. Next up is going to be the Nuggets and the Lakers. Nuggets closed this one out in game five, 108 to 106. This has been a very, very competitive series, even though it has been, a 4-1 win here for Denver. Two of these games were decided by only 2 points. Although I guess they were all within 11 points. Lakers' total point differential in this series, I believe, was only minus 11 points. When they lose 4-1 and only have a minus 11 point differential, that just shows you how close this series has been as a whole. LeBron was amazing in this game: 30 points, 9 boards, 11 assists, 4 steals, really good. AD 17 and 15 on 8 of 11 shots. He was really good. D'Angelo Russell was 2 of 10 from three. So again, he was not good in this game, which has kind of been um, consistent for him in this series, being not very good. The Nuggets were really good. Everybody stepped up here. Their big three was amazing. Jamal Murray, 32 points, 7 assists, and a game winner yet again in this game with about 3 seconds left. He had a game-winning shot here. He had a game-winning shot in game two as well. So he's kind of been the savior here for Denver, their late game situations. Jokic had 25 points, 20 boards, and 9 assists. So he was amazing as well. And Michael Porter Jr. had 26 points on 5 of 7 from three. So he was just knocking down three after three, doing everything he needed to do. So the Nuggets were playing really, really well. You kind of think about if the Lakers were fully healthy because they were missing Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and Cam Reddish, who were all supposed to be some decent role players for this team. And that could definitely make a big swing in this series, considering two of these games were only decided by 2 points. So if they were to have all three of those players back and healthy in this series, definitely could be a different story right now. But it's just a what if, so we don't got to dive or dwell on that too much here. Going into this Boston and Miami series, so I didn't talk about Game 4 yet for this series either. So Boston won Game 4, 102 to 88, and then Game 5 closed it out, 118 to 84. Absolutely dominated them here in Game 5, which is basically all I'm going to talk about here. Winning this series by 34 points in Game 5 is really, really good here. Boston shot, 40% from three. Miami shot 10% on threes. 3 for 29 on three-point line from Miami. Not the best way to go out. Miami only had 6 turnovers compared to Boston's 14 in this game and still lost by 34 points. Very, very bad look there for Miami. They were not really good at all. Caleb Martin was 1 of 5 on three. Tyler Hero was 1 of 8 on three. Every single person off their bench was 0 for 2 from three-point line, so it's just not a good look, basically, from anybody. Thomas Bryant had 10 points in 12 minutes, so that's something, but most of those were garbage time minutes. Bam Adebayo was 23, 5, and 6. He's been the best player for Miami in this series by a long shot. But yeah, Miami just, did not play very good in this game. Kind of expected. You don't really expect them to win this game or at all, but I would expect them to put up a little bit more of a fight like they have been in the recent games. But Boston was still amazing. Jaylen Brown had 25 points. Derek White had 25 points. Tatum only shot the ball 9 times, still had 16 points and 12 rebounds there. Sam Hauser had 17 points off the bench in only 20 minutes, 6 of 8 on threes. So he was amazing in this game as well. So Boston's kind of just outmatched him in every category of this game. One thing to monitor here for Miami is that Kevin Love may have just played his last game. He said before the game that he could be retiring like anytime. And I would expect Patty Mills from Miami to also potentially be retiring at the end of this season. So we very well could have seen Kevin Love and Patty Mills play their last games in the NBA, which is a little bit sad to think about. But yeah, going on here to the Mavericks and Clippers. So the Mavericks did break their streak of losing without Kawhi Leonard. So that's good to see for Dallas. Definitely not a good thing to see for the Los Angeles Clippers, because you definitely wanted to put up a better fight than that without Kawhi Leonard, considering they have done that, their last couple of games when Kawhi Leonard's been out. But they still have Game 6, and Kawhi Leonard very well could be back for Game 6. And right now, the Clippers are definitely going to need him back because losing by 30 points here is not a good look. Shooting 38% from the field and 26% from three for the Clippers is not a good look at all. 13 turnovers, not a great look there either. Paul George in this game was 4 for 13, not good. James Harden was 2 for 12, absolutely horrible. Powell was 1 for 6. Westbrook was 2 for 11. Amir Coffey was 1 for 6. Nobody in this game for the Clippers was doing really good, except for like Ivica Zubac and Terrence Mann were their best players in this game. And yeah, they were not too great either. So yeah, they kind of just got dominated everywhere in this game. Luka Doncic was amazing, 35, 7, and 10. Kyrie Irving had 14 points on 6 of 14 shooting, so he wasn't even great. But the role players here for Dallas did do really good. Derek Lively was 5 for 5. Maxi Kleber was 5 for 7. Derek Jones was 5 for 7. So, but they got their big their bench players, role players playing really well for Dallas. With Los Angeles shooting very, very poorly from the field and from three, there's going to be not a good recipe for success there for the Clippers. But, going into game six, Kawhi Leonard's questionable. If he plays, I would expect this to go to game seven. If Kawhi Leonard's not playing game six, I think Dallas is going to pull it out. Even if he does play, I think Dallas pulls this series out in probably seven games if Kawhi Leonard is playing in game six. Looking here at the Pacers and the Bucks, so this was a really interesting game five here because Milwaukee was without Giannis and Damian Lillard. So you would expect Indiana to probably get this win here pretty easily and close out the series. But Milwaukee ended up winning the game by 23 points, which is bigger than any win Indiana's had this series, which is interesting to think about. Without your top two players, and you absolutely dominated Indiana this entire game. Indiana didn't shoot like horribly. 44 and 32% isn't horrible, but they just did not play good. On the defensive side of the ball either. Letting Milwaukee shoot 52% from the field is not a great look there. For Indiana specifically, Tyrese Halliburton was pretty good, 16, 4, and 6. Siakam only had 12 points when considering he's been having a couple 30-point games in this series. In the last few games, he's only had 12 and 13 points. Not a good look there for him. You wanted to see him get back, hopefully, in Game 6, get back to putting up those 30-plus points, especially if Giannis and Dame are still not playing, which right now it looks like they're both still going to be out for Game 6. So you're definitely going to want Siakam to play really, really well to try to close this series out. It's looking like right now that Giannis and Dame are listed as game time decisions, but they're both listed still as doubtful for a Game 6. But yeah, the reason Milwaukee was able to pull this game out was because Patrick Beverley was really, really good in this game. He had 13 points and 12 assists. Really, really good performances from him. Chris Middleton, 29 and 12. He's been playing really good all series. Bobby Portis was also really good in this game, 29 and 10. Malik Beasley had 18 points on 4 or 6 from 3. So they really just played really good as a whole. Their top 7 guys were pretty good in this game overall. So it's really good to see your guys stepping up without your star players. But still, if Milwaukee doesn't have their star players in Game 6, which right now it looks like they won't, I'll still take Indiana to win this series here, probably in 6. They will have Game 6 at home, so I would expect them to use their home court advantage to their advantage and actually pull this series out here in 6 games. We do got the Thunder and the Pelicans, so this game, Game 4, happened a few days ago. Still haven't talked about this one. This one was a more close game compared to Games 2 and Game 3, but overall, it still felt like OKC was pretty much in control of this game, even though it was pretty close. They did win that fourth quarter by 9 points, so it was really close all the way to the end. They kind of pulled away a little bit towards the end, but it was still a pretty good, close game throughout. They did not play very good offensively, 43% from the field and 30% from the three, as well as only 62% from the free throw line for OKC. Not the best performance there, but their defense was great, holding New Orleans to 38% from the field and only 24% on threes. Not a good look there. They forced 18 turnovers for OKC, which is really good on their defensive side there. And yeah, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, 24 and 10. Jalen Williams put up 24 points. You know, good performances there from their offensive side, and they did get a little bit lucky with New Orleans kind of sucking shooting the ball. Brandon Ingram was 2 of 14 in this game for 8 points. Not a good look there. Valanciunas was 6 of 15. Not good there. Trey Murphy was 3 of 10. Yeah, the only players that really were good here for New Orleans were CJ McCollum, who put up 20 points, and Nazi Marshall, who put up a efficient 16 points on 4 7 threes. But other than that, New Orleans was pretty disappointing in this game. And you know, you kind of think about how this series could have been a lot different if Zion Williamson did play, because I mean, two of these games were, you know, single digit games, and Zion Williamson very well could have been a big factor in New Orleans being able to win both of those games and making this a 2-2 series right now. But you know, like I said, it was a Lakers series and stuff. You don't want to dwell too much on, you know, what could have happened with injuries. So just gonna move on past that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back later this week for my Game 6 recaps, and make sure to check out my UFL and NFL videos as well.